So when I got my PhD, and mine's in physics, but one of the things I do for a living is we detect um, patterns. We do predictive analytics, and when we're trying to decompose a signal and understand data and look at data more objectively and say, oh, look, here's the result. We're not using some kind of let's generate data and kind of create it to prove a point, right? We look at actual data and we go to great lengths to look at what's real and what's not, and what's simulated and what's not. And we only want to use real data, right? So one of the other things I learned when I was working on my doctoral degree is if you're in a peer-reviewed journal, you need that work you've done to be representative of you and you alone, or the authors and the authors alone. And if it has my name on it, a standard must be set that says, hey, look, guys, this is me. I stand behind every word of this. I'm putting my professional reputation on the line. And I go through painstakingly, word sentence by sentence, on anything I've ever published. And if you go look at my publication record, I don't have nearly as many papers as other people, but if you look at the citation index, I've done pretty well. And I've been in prestigious journals like Proceedings for the National Academy of Sciences, Neuroimage. I've been all over the place. Just Google it yourself. But one of the things that really bothers me in the modern day is the large number of papers that are being retracted, which means somebody published it and then went, oh, yeah, just kidding. That's not really right. Because usually it happens because somebody calls somebody else out on their bullshit. Well, one of the things we're working on is a way to detect bullshit before it hits the news, whether it's a news website or whether it's a peer review. We want to be able to detect that crap before it gets to the mainstream. And can you do that in mass? And can you do that for everything from a social media post to some news article put out by AP News, CNN, MSNBC, whoever, and just say, hey, look, is not only is this accurate, but does it have a bias? And we're trying to figure out a way to really measure that and do it effectively. So I was running some tests on can we detect things that might not necessarily be all that accurate. And I came up with this. And one of the things that I found about this, I was like, okay, well, the International Journal of Multidisciplinary Research and Analysis, which I've never heard of, but okay, they're analyzing data. Comparative analysis, right up my alley, of 2008 economic crisis, not up my alley, but data's data. So let's take a look. Economic crisis between the United States and Europe, causes, consequences, and policy response. So they go through what their methodology is going to be. They say, hey, look, we're going to talk about, the data analysis. We're going to talk about causes of the global economic crisis. The subprime mortgage crisis in the United States was primarily caused by the primary cause of the globalized economic crisis. The crisis was caused by loose monetary policies of the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve, be nice. Which led to low interest rates and Federal Reserve, take note. And encouraged risky lending practices by banks and other financial institutions. Don't do it again. Okay, all that makes sense, right? But I spent a little bit of time, and I had to go look at our system and say, why did this get called out? Because it kind of started to look like it sort of made a little bit of sense, but I'm like, okay, it's kind of generic. It's kind of not really like diving into really deep analysis. It's just kind of rehashing stuff other people had seen. And then I came across, what happened was our system came across this: regenerate response. Somehow this paper made it all the way through peer review and into publication with the phrase regenerate response in it. Only reason for that phrase to be in that paper is because somebody used ChatGPT, Grok, one of the other large language models to generate at least this paragraph. And my guess is a lot more. And this one, they forgot to take out the regenerate response. They copied, pasted, moved on with their life and went, yay, we got a new publication. And let's go tell everybody how awesome we are. And we published a paper and yippee, skippy, and yay, doodly dandy, we got it down. I have a real problem with that. It just, to me, it says, we've lost all kind of our ethics. I don't care if people use ChatGPT. I don't care if people use Grammarly to check grammar, or maybe, hey, I'm stuck. Here's a paragraph, rewrite it better. But it calls into question how much they were paying attention if the phrase regenerate response made it through to the final publication. I think you were using this for a whole lot more than just that one paragraph or rephrasing. I think you were using ChatGPT and the like to kind of generate large parts of it. I know the argument. Well, they had to generate the prompts and they had to go out and figure out what they wanted to say and how blah blah. I get it, but um, they're basically just rehashing stuff that I mean. There was a movie about this, and you're not really saying much outside of what was kind of in the movie. I get it. You know, you need a paper. You got to crank stuff out. I got it, but is this really the way to do it? Leave use ChatGPT to generate it, and then don't even get good enough at proofreading to take regenerate response out, which to me means I no longer trust anything. Well, not necessarily anything, but I no longer this journal I've never heard of. First off, I'm never going to send them a paper. Second off, you know, I'm instantly going to be suspicious of anything of theirs that comes my way because of this. And this guy at the University of or Athens University Economic and Business Department, your work, you just went in the pile of I'm not going to bother. But dude, this kind of stuff is the sort of thing that we need to get a handle on in the industry and globally. I mean, if you're going to have academic stuff that's going to be used to try to develop policies out of, and you're using ChatGPT to do it, that's a dangerous slope. That's not even like a questionable slope. That's just flat out dangerous. So when I find more of these things, I will call them out. But man, this one, that right there, and you know, if you see that kind of stuff in there, instantly calls it into to the land of suspicious. So I don't know why I did this one as a live chat. I hope everybody has a great weekend wherever you see me. Whether it's this one is now going out to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. I still call it Twitter. I don't care what Elon Musk renamed it. I can't bring myself to call it X on a regular basis. So we'll see everybody soon. I hope you have a great weekend. But man, that one that just rubs me the wrong way. Be on the lookout when you see things where people quote it and go, "Hey, these guys are really smart and really important." And you see crap like that, you know, it falls by the wayside and goes out of no longer all that important in my book. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll talk again soon.